What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Shopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bell as we get going here. That way you can be apprised whenever great content comes out, like, I don't know, for NFL season that's coming out. It's unbelievable. We're in single digits. It's the single-digit countdown. Looking forward to that. College football this weekend. Matt Kajewski, Ben Rouse are doing a great job in the college football streets for all of you guys. But right now, we're going to be talking some MLB. We've got a massive 15-gamer, every single team in play. I'm here in Arizona, so I'm excited. Maybe go to the D-backs game tomorrow. We'll see. But the one thing I for sure would do if I were you, and I was in the great state of Arizona or Kansas, which just got their sports betting legalized as well, is bet $5 to get $200 over at DraftKings, or head to FanDuel, bet $5, get $150 over there. Both of those links are in the video description box below. And I'm telling you, shopping for odds, that's why it's called Odd Shopper. Shopping for odds is the best way that you can guarantee that you have an edge on getting to the sports books that are otherwise, when they have different lines that are scattered around 5, 6, 7 different books. If you can already be on DraftKings and FanDuel, the two main books, you have an opportunity more than likely to at least get a better number at one of them. If you make that a part of your process, I can guarantee that you will cut into the juice and cut into the edge at sports betting, no matter what you're doing here. But hey, we got 15 games. I know you guys are here for picks, so why don't we just get to those? All right, let's go. All righty, we get this party started in Pittsburgh, which I'm sure is a sentence that's never been said before. It's Alek Manoah of the Blue Jays against Johan Oviedo. That's a great name for the pirate ship. And Manoah is just darn good at pitching, folks. 2.60 ERAs, 1.03 whips in 152 and 2/3 inning sample sizes generally are pretty good. His 30.2% hard hit rate is just darn impressive. And while he only strikes out 23.3% of batters, which is pretty low by elite pitcher standards, the hideous Pirates lineup with their 25.1% K rate against righties on the year should help to buoy that. And Oviedo, he was just recalled from AAA Indianapolis. He was a nice piece the Cardinals sent to Pittsburgh in exchange for Jose Quintana, earlier this month. Actually, it was still August. And he's not all that bad. In 25 1/3 innings with St. Louis this season, he had just a 3.2 ERA and a 24.1% K rate, although almost all of that was exclusively as a reliever, besides the first start of the season, which did not go very well. And it's not like the bullpen that backs him is any good either. A 4.57 ERA and a 1.41 whip on the year. And compare that to Toronto's 3.76 ERA and 1.23 whip on the year. They're not perfect measurements of looking at a bullpen, but I think it does encapsulate the disparity between these two teams in that regard. So 9th inning bump to Toronto here, plus the lowly Pirates having to face Manoah and their 82 WRC plus that they have against righties on the year. Yeah, we like the Bluebirds on the run line here to start off the day. I like it. That's why there's a like button in the corner that's a thumbs up. Off to Great American Small Park, where to that -1.5 Cardinals extra innings cover there on Wednesday night. It was it was yesterday. It's Thursday when I'm recording this, but on Wednesday, it was a bad day. Wednesday was. Thursday went markedly better, and I would have been in shambles on Wednesday if it weren't for that cover on the -1.5. But as strange as that series was, it's even stranger with these two bad teams going at it here in the Rockies and the Reds. Colorado will throw lefty Kyle Freeland out there, and hard to feel any warm fuzzies backing him here. While his road splits are exponentially better than his home splits, which makes total sense when you pitch in Coors, this is probably the second worst ballpark to be pitching in when you don't miss bats and you give up hard contact. And boy, does he not do those two things. A mere 16.2% K rate, a 43% hard hit rate on the year. He's likely to get blasted even against a Reds lineup that's not very good. You have Stuart Fairchild. He's starting to whack lefties. He's a righty. He's pretty good. Jonathan India is still good. And the Donovan Solano and Kyle Farmer combo both grade out pretty darn well for me in this spot too. But add Luis Cessa to the pot on the other side, starting for the Reds, and I start to get the how do they possibly set this over under high enough type vibes, which are good vibes, unless you see a 10.5 total here, an 11 total, and that'll make you reconsider your life backing two subpar lineups. But Cessa's being built up for God knows what reason, as he's just bad. He's got a 41.6% hard hit rate, a 348 xWOBA, a 473 x slugging, and a 17.3% K rate. There's no line here, so I'm left to assume what this over-under will be, but I'm not going to be even giving a lean to something that does. I mean, here's what it is. I have to give the lean to it, because if you give a like to something that doesn't exist yet, that's pretty erroneous because we play a numbers game. So The team that I'm going to be backing here on the lean status is going to be the Rockies on the money line, if forcing to choose that one. But I hope you're listening because you need to listen to this. If the over-under is set at 9.5, I want the over. Period. End of story. If it's 10, that's okay. We can probably talk about the hook there a little bit, but for the most part, 9.5 is what I am expecting this total to be. Hit the over of that if it shows up. But Colorado money line, that is where I'm going to be leaning. No lines out yet. I got off to such a lovely start to the day on Thursday, and the Orioles found another way to just keep winning baseball games in the weirdest fashions possible. I mean, check this out. 3 solo shots off Bieber, and yet Bieber went completely ballistic over, I think he finished 11 Ks on the night. And for those to be the only 3 runs of the entire game because the Orioles starter and Kyle Bradish made a deal with the devil, cool. All right, I get it. I'm going to take a line from Walter White here. Maybe the best course of action with the Orioles would be to tread lightly. But hey, home favorites against the A's makes sense to back them on their good side. So hey, let's look at JP Sears for the Athletics facing Dean Kramer for the Orioles. And this Sears character, we'll start with him. He's had really good results so far this season, but really bad underlying metrics, which is maybe my favorite kind of pitcher to target because sometimes there's some hidden value there. Get this though. Sears, 2.29 ERA and a 1.11 whip. That would lead you to think, gee, that's really good. But a 45.3% hard hit rate, a 253 expected batting average, and just a 15.5% K rate is not getting it done, folks. So I don't care what your ERA says, negative regression is coming for you with those kind of numbers. And Kramer, what can I say? These Orioles pitchers just keep on keeping on. And there's no rationale or explanation for it other than, and this is what I think it is, Adley Rutschman, who's got a ridiculous WAR for a guy who's played as few of games as he has. Maybe he should be shrined into the Hall of Fame this second for his framing ability and his ability to elevate this starting pitching staff, because I think he has to be the culprit. Because if I look at the numbers, Kramer has a 43.5% hard hit, a 429 expected slugging, an 18.4% K rate. Yep, yet another Baltimore starter I don't want anything to do with. So neither pitcher is all that desirable to me, but Adley Rutschman, what a monster. And I'm sick of siding for or against these teams because right now the A's, they've lost 2 extra inning games where I was backing them. We just had the Orioles brutalize me, even though, like, for the most part, I've been on them. So I'm leaning the over of 8 if I do anything here, but no reason to make some sort of a flag plant play in a situation I don't have a good pulse for. I'll just admit it. I don't have a great pulse for it right now. I have more digging into this Adley Rutschman thing because I truly think he's the reason that this Orioles pitching staff is succeeding as much as what they have. So we'll see if this ends up making the card in the end. By all metrics, it should. I should like the over of 8, but I'm a little trigger shy at the moment, have more digging to do. You know what to do. Head to that comment section below. I wasn't able to get to everybody today. I'm normally able to get to absolutely everybody, but I was able to get to everybody on Twitter. So if you go to @EricLindquist, you follow me over there, you ask me any questions, I promise I will respond to those instantly. Like, I don't know, the Chicago and Seattle plays that worked out very nicely for those who asked. So go ahead and fire that up. @EricLindquist is where you find me. But the over of 8, simply a lean as it stands right now. All right, you know what time it is. You guys head to DraftKings or you head down to FanDuel. You bet $5 to get 200 at DK. You bet $5 to get 150 over at FanDuel. That's really as simple as it gets. They're the 2 biggest names in the sportsbook game here in America. Even if you're overseas, it doesn't matter where you are. You can take advantage of this if you click on the link in the video description box below and you sign up now. I know a lot of you have DraftKings and FanDuel accounts. I promise you, as the year goes on, whether it's MLB videos, NBA videos, NFL videos, obviously coming up here soon, you guys are going to have opportunities to sign up at sportsbooks where you might not already be signed up, a Caesars or something of that sort. But DraftKings and FanDuel are running this amazing promotion. Betting $10 to get up to $350 if you haven't signed up at either, or, $5 to get $150 isn't so bad over at FanDuel. Betting $5 to get $200 at DK is even better. So if you haven't signed up at either one of those spots, take advantage in the video description box below. Simply click there. It should take you directly to those spots from the Stochastic page. So make sure you guys are signed up at both because I promise you I'm playing there every single day. I know that you guys will be too. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And hey, let's get back to some picks, shall we? Oh boy, here's 2 pitchers of painful proportions. Lefty Daniel Lynch on the mound for the Royals and Drew Hutchison for the Tigers. And no alarm bells for once, as Detroit sees a lefty for what feels like the first time in ages. And I gave them so much flack against righties, so I have to at least tell you the flip side here. A 99 WRC plus is a hair away from league average, so yay to them. You're doing great, sweetie. And Lynch, a 45.8% hard hit rate, a 336 xWOBA, and a 20.7% K rate paired with a 9.2% walk rate. While not the most horrific pitcher in baseball, he's not that far away. In fact, he's not even the worst starter, though, in this game, with Drew Hutchison on the other side. A 14.6% K rate and a 10.1% rate walk rate is so bad. A 346 xWOBA and 441 expected slugging is so much worse. And while a 4.01 ERA might not look too shabby, he's actually got a 5.09 expected ERA, meaning negative regression has to be in store here soon. Yet another spot where both pitchers look like trash, so I'm fully behind another play on an over here, considering the open number of 8.5. It's just too low. It's due to be 80 degrees at first pitch with over 50% humidity. Ball should be flying compared to normal for both of these lineups that don't have a ton of power, but it's not like power is the main reason you're going into Detroit and trying to extract some value. More doubles and singles, or doubles and triples that show up more in that ballpark. And has anyone watched the Royals of late? I mean, it's not just Sal Perez, Bobby Witt Jr., and MJ Melendez making hard contact anymore. They've got new additions, Michael Massey and Nick Prado. Darn good prospects in this Royals system, making some hard contact of their own. So yay, over 8.5. We like it. We continue. We move on our merry way. Well, this game should fly because, to be honest with you, these lines are as efficient as it gets, and I want no part of it. But in case you do, let's take a gander, shall we? Domingo Germán of the Pinstripes taking off Jeffrey Springs of the Rays. And Germán is bad from a StatCast perspective with a 269 expected batting average, a 42.3% hard hit rate to go with just a 17.8% K rate. But the ballpark is glorious for bad pitchers, so cool. And the lineup that's backing him, pretty good now that Stanton's back and Aaron Judge is a baseball god. But the real problem is lefty Jeffrey Springs. He's just filthy good with a 27% K rate and a 292 xWOBA that jump off the page to me. So bad Yankees starter, but incredible Yankees lineup. Incredible Rays starter, but mediocre Rays lineup. This line totally makes sense to me. And this sort of over-under is just what happens when you play in Tropicana, even when the Yankees come to town. So if you really want something here, maybe lean the over of 7, because Judge hitting a ball hard with a human or two on base is gone in any baseball stadium on earth. Maybe. See, I want nothing to do with this game, and you probably shouldn't either. Over of 7, that is a lean. That ain't going to be making the card. Yeah, I got nearly everything right on Thursday, especially if the Diamondbacks can pull this one off for me. They're up 5-0 right now. Don't forget to ask me questions on Twitter at Eric Lindquist, because there was no line out for Milwaukee. I didn't know plus 120 was going to be the money line number that we had coming in for the Diamondbacks. And hey, I was coming to Arizona. I was coming to Phoenix. It made all the sense in all the land to be firing them here. But something I got very wrong, Cleveland getting after Kyle Bradish, which is LOL pathetic for whatever. Again, Adley Rutschman, you're killing me. And now they host the Mariners and Luis Castillo. So surely this is the time that they actually show up, right? That's how baseball seems to be working, my friends. But Castillo for the Mariners has been as good as advertised from the trade. Aside from one hiccup against the Athletics on the 21st, he's been lights out in his first 5 starts for Seattle. He's coming off 10 Ks against this very team in his last home start. This will be on the road, obviously, against Cleveland, which is something of a surprise, considering the Guardians are the best team in baseball at avoiding punchouts. And hard not to think he's a viable pitcher to back at just minus 135 is the prevailing number on the money line, even at a decent matchup. And I say this, especially because with Zach Plesac on the mound for the Guardians, who doesn't impress me in the slightest, by the way, he's got a 42.3% hard hit rate, a 477 expected slugging, and a mere 18.1% K rate. I mean, the Mariners are electric at the plate, even with righties, even against righties, if you will, with their 104 WRC plus against them for the season. So that makes this game right here the first of my 2 locks on the board. Yes, only 2 on this massive 15-gamer. I don't know how we got away from slamming Castillo in this Mariners lineup against Plesac and the Guardians here, but we're just not going to do that. We're absolutely going to be firing up the money line here at will. You can thank me later. And after 1-for-1 in locks on Thursday, thank you for that ridiculous Boston and Texas game. That couldn't have gone out a whole lot better. 17 total runs that we saw there. So yay, we're back on track with the locks. We're going to take a page out of Ed Helms' book. We are back. We are back. I love The Hangover. Seattle money line. That's my lock here. Speaking of that lock, I was so damn happy to hammer an over of 9 and 9.5. I took both numbers with ease as the sole lock of the day. It was the centerpiece play for me and a lot of you out there. I loved to see the screenshots, the DMs you guys sent me. Congratulations on a huge hit for a lot of you guys out there on that one. Can't believe that line moved from 9.5 down to 9, but hey, I'll take the over again. I hit it again at 9. So let's take a look at this spot because let's see, it's at 10 for an over under. I mean, there's no way we're going to run it back. Holy crap. Dallas Keuchel's on the mound. Are we sure? How? The man has an 8.84 ERA this season, a 2.05 whip. I mean, this has to be yet another example of a player having dirt on a GM because there is a 0 chance this is real life. Oh, looks like it's real. Whatever. It's Keuchel on the mound for the Rangers, his 3rd team of the season. I can't get over that. That's pretty funny. And he'll be facing Nick Pivetta. And our friend Nicholas here has a bit of what doctors call home run-itis. It's caused by irregular abilities to locate the zone. Irregular abilities, as in can't do it, and walk 8.6% of batters, followed by giving up long and far contact to the tune of a 44.6% hard hit rate that's translated into 20 long balls for his opposition on the season. And there is no cure for home run-itis, as it's continued to plague his entire career based on his lifetime 1.5 home runs per 9. So if home run-itis lasts for 4 or more hours, well, yay for us. I like the over of 10 here. And the only reason we're not locking this is because one can't miss spot I like on this board is just a fraction better. And I don't want to get in a habit of locking 4 or 5 things on a card on a given day. Unless I absolutely think that they're smashes beyond smashes. I don't want to give people the wrong impression that I'm just locking everything all the time. I don't know if I've ever had more than 3 locks on a show, but I digress. I must say, if I had to lock a third play on this slate, this would be the one. I can't believe Keuchel is still in the majors. What in the world? Go into the abyss, sir. And I can't believe Nick Pivetta, with all the power that he's given up over his career, he's been a little bit better in that department. He won't be better against Texas here on Friday. So the over of 10, whoo, darling. It's a lock. It's a like, but it's see, it was almost a lock. I wanted to lock it. We're going to keep it a like, though. Off to Citi Field for Nationals Mets. And after taking a series off the Dodgers, hosting Washington has to feel a bit like a Swedish massage for this team. And while there's no line here yet, I think it's pretty safe to assume we're going to see massive minus money next to the Mets when it comes out. So cool. We've got David Peterson on the mound taking on visiting pitcher Josiah Gray. And hey, I do like Gray's stuff. And after a rough go of it to the start of the season, he's been nails in his past 3 outings, aside from the excessive walks. We've got a 10K game in that span, only 6 earned runs total in 17 1/3 innings. He's certainly starting to flash some upside. But the steady Eddie here between the 2 arms is no doubt lefty David Peterson. The southpaw continues to show something with his new and improved 27.3% K rate. That is a career high. It's gone up in his 3 years with a 233 expected batting average, a 363 expected slugging. That looks oh so pretty to me. The walks do continue to be a bit of a problem, and it has been throughout his career. It's been over 10% throughout his career, but this man has talent and is starting to flash it at the big league level after a very tough 2021 season. So I like the Mets here. Everyone will like the Mets here. Just need to see the odds before it makes any sense to fire it. But the run line is most likely the path I'll take. So that's what will get the lean with it. Rock with it, lean with it, rock with it. I'll never do that again. Leaning -1.5. I'm done. This is the game I've been waiting to talk about. We've got Sandy Alcantara versus Charlie Morton in by far the most intriguing pitching matchup to me on the entire day. And I sadly did not get paid for the Trevor Rogers outing I was looking for on Wednesday. He was spectacular. The fish couldn't finish that one nice. We had nice plus money on that one. It's brutal. A lot of extra innings. Athletics twice, Marlins there on Wednesday as well. A lot of times where we've kind of been getting burned in those regards. Why didn't I just bet the under? That would have been the smart kid thing to do, but whatever. We continue on, and we run into a very similar situation with Alcantara on the mound for Miami today on Friday. He's the runaway favorite to snag the Cy Young this season, but yet he gets brutal run support seemingly every single time out. In fact, if he's not completely lights out, it's hard for this team to put up runs on just about anyone at any given moment. And just like anyone pitching in a phenomenal pitcher's park, like Alcantara does there in Miami, his home road splits are drastic. I mean, he's still good on the road, but a 1.13 whip and a 2.82 ERA, while very good, are certainly not the 0.87 whip and 1.61 ERA he has at home. And it's not just some nobodies there on the other side. It's the Atlanta freaking Braves we're talking about here. And Acuna knee injury that he's playing through aside, there are so many elite bats to deal with in an Atlanta ballpark that has, it's played dead neutral amongst all parks in baseball this season for runs. As for Morton, he's seeing some of the regression you'd expect out of a 38-year-old pitcher, but the strikeouts still stand out to me at a 28.6% rate that's actually above his career average. Add in the 3.93 expected ERA, and I have a hard time believing the Marlins are going to find success in this spot. So this is a really, really interesting spot all the way around. And with FanDuel, the only line that's open so far, sitting north of plus 150 to go the Marlins route, they're just begging us to side with the flamethrower Alcantara, but I'm not falling for it. And if I do anything here, it won't just be the Braves money line, but the Braves run line at plus money. I mean, if we can assume the Marlins are going to have a tough time creating runs, as is against a solid starter in Morton, investing in another pedestrian Alcantara road start, he's given up 10 earned at his last 2, for what it's worth, is the path that I plan to take. So it's a lean for now, but I will strongly be considering the Braves side and only the Braves side, despite my love for Alcantara. Cue the second straight complete game for him now. He had a complete game against the Dodgers. That's a really good lineup. You could totally do it again here, but hey, you play the numbers that are in front of you, and the numbers say to me, Braves minus 1.5. We're going to lean that way for now. I want to add it to the card, though, pretty badly. Even in the darkest of days, there is one team we have absolutely been smashing by betting this week, and quite frankly, this entire season. And that's the Twins, who are staying competitive in the AL Central despite the absence of my favorite player to perhaps ever walk the earth in Byron Buxton, as well as solid second baseman Jorge Polanco. Buxton surely will not be there on Friday, but there is an outside chance for Polanco to play considering he hasn't been put on the IL yet, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But pitching, that's the most predictable thing to talk about in any spot. So that's going to be Sonny Gray for the Twins and Davis Martin for the White Sox in this one. And I just love what we're seeing out of Gray now, as he's shown the ability to get over 90 pitches in outings, which he's now done 3 of his last 5 times out. So that length has helped keep the Twins bullpen fresh. And with some absolute slingers in Lopez and Duran. I mean, did you see a 100-mile-per-hour splitter by Duran the other night? I mean, holy hell, it was beautiful. Go Google that immediately. Anyways, with those guys coming out of the pen, absolute flamethrowers, you want some length out of Gray to turn it over to them at the end of games, and then Yahtzee, you got some winners. And Davis Martin on the other side of this one is just terrible. A 343 xWOBA, a 16.9% K rate, 438 expected slugging, which leads me to this. I'm absolutely perplexed by this line. How are the Twins only minus 135 on the money line here? I mean, the White Sox are absolutely brutal against righties this season with a super low 120 ISO. And while the 95 WRC plus they have against righties looks decent, the Twins have a 113 WRC plus against righties against the way worse starter. So here it is, our second lock, the Twins money line. It's a joke how much I like this play. And it's not my Minnesota fan bias talking here. Anyone who knows a Minnesota sports fan knows we hope for the best, but completely expect the worst. But this Friday, I do not feel that way whatsoever. Lock button on the Twins as they wins for us on Friday. Minnesota money line, lock it up. We're going down, baby. Yo Street in a Range Rover to St. Louis for Cubs and Cardinals. I love Nelly. Adrian Sampson versus Jordan Montgomery. And fortunately, Sampson is right-handed because I say this a lot, but despite what you saw in Cincinnati, the likes of Goldie, Arenado, and Pujols shall not be bet against versus Southpaws from now until eternity. And I mean that because Pujols looks primed to play baseball for an eternity, and I sure would too if I was doing what he was doing. But Sampson, being right-handed is the nicest thing I can say about him besides his 33.5% hard hit rate, which actually looks really good. Otherwise, the Ks are low at 17.9%, and the 327 xWOBA means guys are finding ways to be productive, even in spite of his 6.1% walk rate that looks decent. He's just a dude to me, though. And with the emergence of Lars Nootbaar at the top of this order and the power from Nolan Gorman in the middle of it, there's still lefties that can do some damage in this spot. And Montgomery, on the other side of this one, was lit up by the Braves this last time out for his first poor starting in a Cardinals uniform. But a lefty against the Braves and their 121 WRC+, I'm going to completely give him a pass in that spot. And now you have no Patrick Wisdom here for the Cubs as he's on the IL. That's a big righty to be absent. So it's looking pretty thin for a lineup from the Chicago side. But my God, minus 235 to bet St. Louis here. Standard minus 110 to bet them on the run line. No, thank you. I'll observe this one from the sidelines. But yes, parlay bros. St. Louis minus 1.5 would be the lane here, bro. So while I think the Cardinals win, that's no hot take here. Obviously, a lot of people think they're going to win. There's not enough value for me to take a shot on either side here. Pass. St. Louis minus 1.5 if you really want it. And we've reached the game that's going to get me in big trouble tonight, but such is life. It's the Astros and Lance McCullers versus Reed Detmers and the Angels. And McCullers has returned to some decent form in his 3 starts since being activated off the IL. A 1.69 ERA in 16 innings obviously looks splendid, and the Angels matchup should help him bolster the mere 19.4% K rate he's got so far, which is most likely a small sample size issue considering his career 26.4% strikeout mark for his career. Yeah, that curveball's good. But, and I'm not just saying this because Garrett Cole struggled against the Halos on Wednesday night. This Angels squad with a healthy Mike Trout isn't the kind of team that you go out of your way to pick on. As for LA starters Detmers, he sure had a roller coaster year. The number 1 prospect in the organization got an immediate call-up at the beginning of the season, struggled early, got sent down for 1 AAA start where he struck out 1 million batters, give or take that, then returned in absolute God mode since. So, in fact, he's only given up more than 2 earned runs once. Yes, once in his 8 starts since his cup of coffee down in the minors to regroup. And his 23.3% K rate isn't good enough to get by a lot of Astros, but at least he's got the platoon against Yordan Alvarez, who is expected to return to the lineup for Houston on Friday. So while he gives up identical home run rates to both sides, he's far better in terms of average and whip to lefties, just like you'd expect most left-handed pitchers to be. But there's some minus 120s to back the Halos on the run line getting a 1.5, and Daddy likes that. In fact, Daddy likes that very much. And it's not just Trout and Ohtani starting to play baseball down in Anaheim of late. Luis Renifo starting to show out. David Fletcher continues to get healthier and is setting the table with a .291 expected batting average at the top of the lineup. And Joe Adell might not be a stone cold disaster after all after a couple of upside games. So I know it won't be popular, but I'm absolutely taking the home dogs here on the run line and hoping McCullers stumbles for the first time this season. Go Angels. I like you. Plus 1.5. We head to Phoenix. Well, I'm not heading to Phoenix. I'm here already, where I just so happen to be. It's Eric Lauer and the Brewers versus Zach Davies and the Diamondbacks. Maybe I go to this game. Maybe I don't. But one thing I know is not a maybe is I will absolutely bet against Zach Davies and the D-backs here. And I get it. The Diamondbacks have played bipolar baseball of late. In the span of a week, they got after Aaron Nola. They got blasted by nearly 20 runs. And now I've watched them just go nuts against Brandon Woodruff. But hey, I did find a way to get on the Diamondbacks money line here. I said that earlier. When that line dropped, it was a big difference between what I was expecting. So that's kind of the importance. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up in the comment section below. But most importantly, pay attention for some news coming soon where you can definitely take advantage of my services on a daily basis, leading right up to lock and first pitch of some of these games. But we continue on. I think there's one trend that we need to be paying attention to, and it's I think the Diamondbacks are going to be a problem for righties to close out the season and struggle more so against lefties, and by a pretty marked note. Just look at all the dudes they roll out from the left side on a near daily basis. Josh Rojas, Alec Thomas, Jake McCarthy, Dalton Varsho. Not a lot of chances for them to avoid rolling out at least a couple of them on a nightly basis, considering the last 3 are their priority outfielders. So, Eric Lauer, please work some of your early season magic to get the weekend started off right for us. He can generate enough Ks from time to time. He can be serviceable. And if he can avoid righty Christian Walker, who is up to a ridiculous 31 home runs now on the season, he should be in line for a decent start here. And Davies, he's a horrific person and a horrific pitcher, so I won't even waste my time on him. Go Google that one, friends. Anywho, thanks for the memories this week, Diamondbacks. It's been a trip, And I'm sure that trip will continue as I back the Brew Crew with a like play here on the money line. It's simple. It's easy. It's a like. All right, fam, we head to San Diego and the Dodgers. We've got Yu Darvish versus Dustin May. And Yu Darvish, kind of a revenge spot of sorts. We'll see if he has revenge in his heart. It's tough considering you're going to be facing a Dodgers lineup that is stacked. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I will say, Dodgers making a little travel back across the country after losing their last two against New York, coming into LA late. I don't think about travel that much. I don't think about those type of trends ever. But Yu Darvish, I bet he was just sitting at his hotel thinking about this Dodgers lineup, thinking about, I don't know, that Game 7 screw up on his part. But, such is life. It happens. He'll be wearing the opposition's uniform this time around with his 24.6% K rate, 299 xWOBA, and 37% hard hit percentage. He's looked a lot better of late. As for the Dodgers on the other side, Dustin May, I find him to be a pretty great little prospect. Very, very small sample size so far this year, but 31.7% K percent, 7.3% walk rate. He gets the ground balls that you're looking for, formerly known as Ginger Guard. I don't think he gets called that anymore, but Dustin May, definitely somebody to be paying attention to as the Dodgers need to have starters with the absence of Walker Buehler here for the next year and a half, it looks like. Got Clayton Kershaw back, which is great, but now going to be waiting on Tony Gonsolin to get back. So Dustin May, they're going to need some length out of some of these guys going forward, but this really just comes down to a San Diego team that is an improved lineup. But with this Dodgers bullpen, Dustin May being a really good pitcher, in my opinion, I find the under to be pretty intriguing here. I haven't decided exactly what I want to do with it yet. Lots to really mine out here. I do want to see that Dodgers lineup as, if you're going to see Gallo and Cody Bellinger, I think that at least has some power profile, even if it's a better strikeout matchup for you, Darvish. You're going to try to get as many lefties as you can into that lineup, but the under of 8, it's still something that I'm toying with here. We'll see how I feel about it tomorrow morning. Go ahead and ask me over on Twitter at Eric Lindquist or in the comments section below. And our last game of the night, I actually do like something from this one. We have Kyle Gibson on the mound going up against Alex Cobb. And, some people, they just don't have it. I don't even know what to say anymore. But Alex Cobb might be one of those guys who's just got it. But apparently the world's just against him in the year of our Lord 2022. He continues to show good results. His expected ERA, though, is a 3.14 compared to his 3.81 ERA. He's pitching in the best pitcher's ballpark you could possibly be in San Francisco. Seems like a spot that he should succeed, but Kyle Gibson gets this San Francisco lineup that is just reeling. You get Brandon Belt now on the IL. You basically have to get by Jock Peterson, then nothing else as a right-handed pitcher. And Kyle Gibson with his 36.1% hard hit percentage, his 6.6% walk rate, he's not really hurting himself. It's a phenomenal pitcher's park. And hey, this Bryce Harper fellow on the other side seems like he's pretty good, as is Kyle Schwarber. So those guys now hitting at the top of this lineup. Those are two massive bats to be rolling out on a day-in, day-out basis. So we saw some strange things in that Arizona series. I think we're going to see a consistently good Phillies lineup going up against righties going forward. So looking at the numbers here on this one, it's hard for me to get away from a slight play on the Philadelphia money line here, considering the standard minus 110 juice. So that's going to be how I round out my card for Friday. And that does it for my Arizona edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Head to that comment section below. Let me know what you think of my plays. If there's any plays you got your eyes on, I always love to see those too. Talk me into a couple of them. We have so many sharp guys that are putting some plays down there as well. Love the interaction, love the back and forth here as well. But most importantly, if you haven't signed up at DraftKings or FanDuel right now, guarantee yourself a win. Bet $5 to get $200 over at DraftKings. If you haven't signed up there, video description box below. Click on that. And if you haven't signed up at FanDuel, bet $5, get $150. That's up to $350 of value for you to sign up today and have a guaranteed winning Friday. Alrighty, y'all. I'll be back next week. You got Aton over the weekend. Enjoy him. But until then, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets this weekend.